And welcome back to the Hotline. We are talking the United States Grand Prix. What, and let's be fair, an exciting race. Lots of talking points. And as you can probably see in the thumbnail, kind of above me, was Lando Norris completely screwed out of third place. Congratulations first to Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, the first Ferrari 1-2 since 2006. Also in the USA, but that would be the Indianapolis Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher and I believe Felipe Massa taking that 1-2. So the story, though, isn't necessarily Ferrari's 1-2, amazing as it was, because it's what happened behind them with Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. So congratulations to Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. It all happened at turn one. The turn one kerfuffle, let's say, with Max Verstappen and Lando Norris allowed Charles Leclerc to pretty much get ahead of everyone. Verstappen ended up coming out, I think, in second, maybe, after all that. And he just couldn't catch Charles Leclerc. Lewis Hamilton, oh my gosh, what happened to Lewis Hamilton? Well, he ended up on lap 2 in the gravel on the most un-Lewis Hamilton-like weekend. I mean, it was more Lewis Stroll and not Lewis Hamilton. Let's hope that doesn't continue coming into Mexico. I mean, no, absolutely not good at all. So here was the, it was at least the top 10. So we've got Charles Leclerc winning, Carlos Sainz in second, and Max Verstappen third. Did he deserve a third? Did he not? We'll definitely get into that. Lando Norris, did he deserve third? Did he deserve fourth? Once again, speak about that in a bit. Oscar Piastri, very much a fifth position guy. George Russell from the pit lane, finishing sixth, ahead of Sergio Perez, who did not start from the pit lane, who started ninth. Yeah. What is he doing? What is he doing in Red Bull still? I keep on saying it. You get rid of Daniel Ricciardo. Why didn't you get rid of Sergio Perez? Nico Hülkenberg 8th. Liam Lawson, absolutely fantastic. The moment, I think, one of the moments of the race was Liam Lawson coming out ahead of Yuki Tsunoda after what was an absolutely amazing stint. And Yuki be like, why? What the heck? Why is he ahead of me? I think he at least said that twice. And Franco Colapinto in 10th, showing up Alex Albon. So if Lewis Hamilton had a bad weekend, I think the second guy that also had the second worst weekend probably was Alexander Albon. What an absolute disaster fest of a weekend he had. But here we go. Here is the talking point. This is the big talking point, and we will be talking about it, no doubt. We'll probably do the rest of our race review tomorrow. And Lando Norris penalty. Yeah, these stewards are really inconsistent. Already social media is ablaze with opinions and stuff. I'll share with you a couple of clips before we do indeed get into the Lando Norris versus Max Verstappen debate with the stewards. I watched Sky. I just finished watching Sky, and Anthony Davidson, I think for the first time, I might actually disagree with him, which I really, really don't. My nerves, this was most certainly most of us with the Verstappen versus Norris battle on both sides of the fence. But even Damon Hill has come out, and he has said, if we just put that here, Damon Hill's come out and said, I'm not convinced the stewarding was consistent in that race. But Lando went deep to pass and did so off track. That said, Max did not give him room on the exit and barged him off the track in turn 1, lap 1. The rules need to be better. Most certainly they do. Mercedes AMG, penalty for George, penalty for Norris. Make it make sense. I mean, they're quite opposites. As you know, George Russell got a penalty for pushing Valtteri Bottas, the guy he replaced, funnily enough, off the track. But yet, Max Verstappen didn't get a penalty, but Lando Norris did. Yes, Lando Norris did. The difference is, Lando Norris did the overtake off the track, and it is, but still, it is a bit confusing, isn't it? Here we go. F1 stewarding standards, race day replay. This guy has an interest, a very cool and interesting YouTube channel if you want to check it out, especially if you're a fan of ITV F1. Anyway, F1 stewards, 99 votes so far, top notch, just awful, getting 84.8%, and quite frankly, we agree. And Matt Norris of Verstappen forces Norris off the track, and Norris gets a penalty. What? Check this guy out. I'm out. I mean, look at every time I looked at this before, And it's just this guy's face. That's pretty much all. That's pretty much all our faces. All our faces, I imagine. Particularly if you're a fan of Lando Norris and McLaren, it was just like, what on earth is going on? And here in Prato are we going to get into. But it all started, as all races do, in so I've got that's crazy, but it all started as we do. I'm still laughing at that tweet. Sorry, in turn 1, and this was turn 1. Here we go. So as you can see here, it's lights out now. To be fair, Lando Norris very much made the big mistake. He made quite a significant mistake by, there you go, opening the door, keeping the door open for Max Verstappen, because he was very much ahead of Max Verstappen. He allowed Max Verstappen to go through. So, yeah, Norris is a big mistake. And here is Lando Norris letting Max Verstappen through. Okay, Max Verstappen, they're very late on the brakes. And he was late on the brakes. They're both, yes, he's kind of ahead now at the apex because he braked so late. What's interesting as well on the Sky thing, Jenson Button made a really, really interesting remark saying, yeah, the only reason why Max Verstappen was ahead of the apex in relation to the other incident, which we will talk about, was simply because he braked so late. He just absolutely braked so late, knowing he wasn't really going to make the corner at Brazil 2021, anyone. So, and yep, he's braking it now. At this time, they pretty much both made the corner though. So not too much late braking, unlike the other one. Okay, we'll go with that. And then he continues to push Lando Norris off the track. And there is Lando Norris completely off the track at this point. It is turn 1. Absolutely, yes. The stewards see turn 1, lap 1, turn 1, slightly different. However, when you so blatantly push a car off the track, and had Verstappen not pushed Lando off the track, he would not have been ahead had Verstappen not pushed Lando off the track, he would not have been ahead of Lando Norris. I think that's a fact. Yeah, facts don't care about your feelings and how you feel. And here he is. I mean, quite blatantly there. Lando Norris so far off the track. Verstappen pretty much off the track, and Verstappen ends up coming through in second. Lando Norris goes down quite a few places, but then he does, as we know, he does end up fighting back, which is only a good thing. So there we go. Now, before we get into the Lando Norris versus Verstappen incident on that 50-something, as the race is coming to a crescendo, as the race is coming to an exciting end, let me share with you another interesting tidbit, which I thought was interesting, and it's going to mean things. Here is lap 1. Yes, once again, this is lap 1. But now, as you can see, the cars are all spread out. Look at them. Look, they're all fairly spread out. And this is Carlos Sainz behind Max Verstappen. He wants to pass him. He's there. Yes. Is it a long shot? Yes. Is it a dive bomb? Yes. Max Verstappen likes the dive bomb, and clearly Carlos Sainz does here. Carlos Sainz does the dive bomb. Well done, Carlos Sainz. And both of them, at this point, Carlos Sainz is equal, if not ahead of Max Verstappen. Once again, he's ahead of Max Verstappen. Again, he's ahead of, but he does force Max Verstappen wide off the track. But at this point, as you can clearly see here, Carlos Sainz is ahead. He's ahead. He looks like he's ahead of Max Verstappen. And then they both go off. Here it is, both off the track. It looks like Carlos Sainz is kind of ahead. But what happens is Verstappen now keeps his boot in, floors it, and then comes out the track ahead of Carlos Sainz. So not only does he keep his position by going off the track, maybe, but if Carlos Sainz is slightly ahead, he then gets it back. He gets on the track and back ahead of Carlos Sainz, and then into the corner, which is not too dissimilar, albeit the attacking car is the other way around, but it's not too dissimilar to the whole Lando Norris Max Verstappen incident, which I don't really get. So let's forward to that incident now, shall we? So, bear with me. I'm just trying to find it. Okay, here we go. Norris versus Verstappen on lap 52 of lap 56. And they're side by side. As you can see, Lando Norris quite clearly ahead, braking quite late because he's going to have to. He has to go around the outside of Max Verstappen. But with a capital B, Max Verstappen then decides to brake later. And this is what Jenson Button says about, well, Max Verstappen did brake later. He ends up being equal to, if not slightly ahead of the apex, simply because he braked so late. He probably wasn't, as you can see here with the angle. I mean, here's Max Verstappen here. There he is. And with the angle, Max Verstappen is not going to make the corner. He knows he's not going to make the corner properly. He's forcing Lando Norris off the track. Professional foul, yes, I believe. Forcing Lando Norris off the track, which he does, and Max Verstappen also off the track. And then Max Verstappen there coming off the track. All four of his cars were indeed off the white line, which we'll get to in a bit. And then he comes back on the track. But Lando Norris this time goes ahead, kind of similar to the Carlos Sainz situation, in a way, when you look at it. But here we go. Here's Lando Norris and Max Verstappen again, from a slightly different view. Max Verstappen braking late, Lando Norris braking late, Max Verstappen braking later, but once again braking so late. I mean, when you look at the angle of his car here, he's not making the apex. He either not making the apex by braking so late, or purposely forces Lando Norris off the track. As you can see here, they're still side by side, and he's forcing him off the track here. And funny enough, Lando Norris looks slightly ahead at this point, but they're both clearly off the track. Look, and then Lando Norris comes back on the track ahead of Max Verstappen. Would the fairest thing be to give both of them a 5-second penalty? Maybe, absolutely, but therein lies that's the issue, though, isn't it? Is the stewarding? Bear in mind they gave George Russell a penalty for forcing Bottas off the track in a very similar situation. It's inconsistent. Was Lando Norris screwed? Yes. Is Max Verstappen a good driver? Absolutely. Is he a good racer? I don't think he is. I know, shock horror, don't hate me. The reason why I don't think he's a good racer is because when you just absolutely send it in to most corners and then expecting the guy to get out of the way or push the guy off the track, which is, let's be fair, Max Verstappen's MO for a good 70% of his overtakes, that are, quite close. You're not really a good racer, are you? You're just kind of like bullying people off the track. But everyone seems to be like, Max Verstappen is this really good racer. Don't get me wrong. He is a talent of a generation. Absolutely, one of the best drivers currently on the grid, if not the best. You can make an argument. But in terms of racecraft and racing side by side, that for me is one of his weaknesses in terms of fair racing. And this is just yet another example. We had Hungary with Lewis Hamilton. We had Austria with Lando Norris. Countless other ones as well in the past. Max Verstappen is, in my opinion, not the best racer currently on the grid. Now, Lando Norris, you can make an argument. He's fair. He arguably is not aggressive enough. I think Lewis Hamilton's one of the best racers on the grid. He's fair. Yes, we all make mistakes. He has had his fair share of whoops and daisies. Not as many though as Max Verstappen. And even when you took their time together, when they're both racing from we're back started in for Red Bull in 2016. But even before that, Max Verstappen clearly has made more faux pas than even like a Lewis Hamilton, and therein, for me, lies the issue. George Russell, I think, is quite aggressive, but not too aggressive like Max Verstappen, where he cannot, in my humble opinion, he can't race, and that's the issue. And also, we need to look at the absolutely inconsistent stewarding decisions, which have been which, in my opinion, for this, it's going to rumble on, and it's absolutely a joke. It's absolutely a joke. Did Lando Norris deserve that? Yeah, I think he probably did. Simply because of that. And I've shown you the Carlos Sainz example, why Verstappen should have got a penalty. I've shown you lap 1, but okay, it's the first lap. But Max Verstappen wouldn't have got the lead. He wouldn't have got second place, sorry, if he hadn't done that. Yes, Lando Norris did, unfortunately, let him through, which, whoops a daisy. But there we go. Anyway, I digress. Let's just have a quick countdown then. This is Lando Norris versus Max Verstappen on lap 52. They are side by side going in there. As we know, Lando Norris is one of the late breakers, but Max Verstappen decides to brake later. And in Jensen Button's opinion, and our opinion here, he brakes so late. He knows he's not realistically going to make the corner, which he doesn't. And then here, you can see quite clearly here, he's just going to push Lando Norris wide and off the track, where George Russell got a penalty for doing something very similar, but Max Verstappen also goes off the track And Lando Norris is like, well, I'm just going to go through and take the position. He does take the position off the track. But by pushing Lando Norris off the track as well, does Max Verstappen save? Tries to save his position. Very similar to Brazil 2021. And it's Max Verstappen that's causing Lando Norris to go off the track. Even like here, you can see here, side by side, Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, both of them braking as late as they dare. Verstappen braking even later, though, and pushing Lando Norris off the track. Both of them quite clearly now at this point going off the track. Lando had nowhere else to go where other people were getting penalised. Should Lando Norris have passed them off track? Maybe, maybe not. But at the end of the day, should Verstappen have got a penalty for pushing someone off the track? Yes, and gaining an advantage. Well, the advantage he gained was the fact that it forced Lando to have a 5-second penalty in the end. I think both of them ultimately should have been given penalties. Ridiculous. And we even go back all the way. If we go all the way back to turn one, here's Verstappen, here's Lando Norris again, and Lando Norris leaves the door wide open. Absolutely Lando's fault at this point. He could have closed the door quite early on, but he doesn't. He wasn't aggressive enough. But here's Max Verstappen. Now, either he's going too fast, or look, he's purposely pushing Lando Norris off the track, by doing so guaranteeing he's going to get ahead of Lando Norris. And here we go, he gets ahead of Lando Norris. That is how Max Verstappen gets into second, which is not particularly great at all. And the big irony is also on lap one, we've got Carlos Sainz versus Max Verstappen. If we rewind the roll, here we go. So Carlos Sainz dive bombs Max Verstappen. It's more of a dive bomb, it is pretty much a dive bomb. And here they are, side by side. At this point, Carlos Sainz does appear to be ahead. He's made the move, has he? But both of them then gets pushed off the track by Carlos Sainz pushes Max Verstappen off the track. It almost looks like Carlos Sainz is actually ahead. Then Max Verstappen comes back on the track. And pretty much, at this point, then he puts his boot in, doesn't he, at this point? He absolutely puts his boot in, where Carlos Sainz is kind of like on the curbs there, scuffling over the curbs. And then Max Verstappen gets ahead of Carlos Sainz, but this time, no penalty for Max Verstappen for at least keeping a position by going off the track. Yes, both of them go off the track, but if you used that stewarding decision along with the Lando Norris and Verstappen stewarding decision, you've obviously come to two different conclusions, but you shouldn't. It's just absolutely ridiculous stewarding. It's ridiculous stewarding. Max Verstappen, I don't think, should have finished third. It should have been Lando Norris. But there we go. But once again, we'll get into the actual race probably tomorrow. Massive, massive congratulations, though. Massive congratulations to Ferrari. I mean, a Ferrari won too. Absolute. It's just, I'm so happy for Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. It's just a shame that these slightly controversial stewarding decisions has taken the shine a tiny bit on what was a historic 1-2. But well done, Charles Leclerc. Well done, Carlos Sainz. Ferrari now within eyeshot, within a handful of points of Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship. And with Red Bull, absolutely wanting to keep Sergio Perez in that place, I've no doubt Ferrari are going to succeed in passing Red Bull. And the issue being, is McLaren now in a fight with Ferrari for that Constructors' Championship? Max Verstappen probably is going to win the drivers, yeah. I mean, he had the best car for the first half of the race, for the first half of the season, let's say, pretty much. And then everyone else kind of caught up, and they're all taking points off each other. So, I mean, when the goose was the best, that's when Max Verstappen, was all the vegetables were ripe. That's when Max Verstappen took advantage of it, as in when his car was good. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, if you like what you see, please give us a subscribe. If I've offended you as a Max Verstappen fan, I do apologise. I think he's a great racer. I think he's one of the best of this current generation. I just don't agree with the stewarding decision. It's nothing against Max at that point. Yes, I mean, you could make an argument. Yes, I did say I don't think he's the best racer. I stand by that. And there's facts galore. If you want to debate me, please comment below and let me know. I will read your comment out in a separate video if you want to debate me. And if you want to come on the show, absolutely, let me know. Once again, Max Verstappen, he's a great driver. I just don't think he's a good racer. So, anyway, as I said, subscribe, hit that notification button so you do not miss a video. We will be back probably tomorrow or later on today, depending when you watch this video, to talk about the race, to talk about the fallout, to talk about everyone else that did or didn't do a good job. But these are the main talking points. We will no doubt speak to you soon. If you made it to the end, you are an F1 champion in ours. If you made it to the end, gave us a like or comment, or even subscribe to 2 things, you are a multiple F1 champion in our eyes. Thank you very much. Stay safe and speak to you soon.